Today we're going to be reacting to a video from the YouTuber and real estate investor Stefanie. Now, to be honest, I don't know anything about her. I just happened to see this thumbnail with the title saying, "I bought 22 rental units and now I regret it. Here's why." Now, watch the video and I have mixed feelings, but I want to actually do a review of the video and of her thoughts and her, I guess, take as an investor. See what she got wrong, because ultimately, I think the reason she regrets buying all these rental units is because she went about it the wrong way. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch this video, we're going to let her make her case, and then I'm going to jump in as an investor myself with 27 rental units, and I'm going to give my take. And I want to know if you guys agree with me, agree with her, or if you fall somewhere in the middle. Of course, I'll put the link to her video down in the description below. Again, I harbor no ill will towards this woman. Never met her, never seen her before at all. Just happened to see her video, and it was a little bit, I don't know, thought-provoking. Let's get started.
22 rental units in only 18 months, and now I regret it. I thought owning rental properties would be a great source of income, but boy, was I wrong. Most real estate investors teach about buying rental properties, rehabbing them, renting them out to tenants, and then refinancing them with a bank just to only cash flow $300 per month. And
so she's referring to the BRRRR strategy right there, obviously. Buy, remodel, rent, refinance, repeat. The BRRRR strategy, which is one of the strategies that you can do, not the only one. And then I want you to pay close attention to the whole $300 a month thing, because it's a very controversial thing. You see people attack me with my rental properties. Oh, it's not that much money.
that $300 per month may sound like a small amount, but when you have a lot of units, that amount adds up. For the 22 units that I own with my business partner, we roughly cash flow on an average of $600 per month, and that's per unit. And on a monthly basis, that comes to $13,200. And on an annual basis, each year, that comes to $158,400. And that's a big cash flow amount just for only owning 22 units.
Agreed.
Now that we talked about the money side of things, you're probably thinking to yourself, Stephanie, why on earth would you regret buying all these properties and wanting to sell them if you're making well over 6 figures with them? Well, because I'm here to tell you the dark side of owning rental properties that the other real estate gurus won't tell you. I honestly thought that as we buy...
I'll happily tell you. Shout out, Stefanie.
Buy more rental properties, that I would make more money. And as we continue to buy more, I just became more broke. So owning...
And you must be buying them wrong, because that should not be the case.
22 rental properties looks great on social media, but in real life, it sucks. And the 6 figures that you see that we make from all these properties isn't really 6 figures, because as you buy more and you scale, more of that money of that cash flow that you make just goes into buying more properties. And not only that, you have to remember you're dealing with properties and things happen. So a roof could go out, an HVAC system could go out, windows could need to be replaced, and those are some pricey items. And that starts to add up. Look, think about it. Let's say you own a single family house and you decide to rent it out and you cash flow $400 per month. That's great. That's above average because typical investors look to cash flow roughly $200 a month. So you're making $400 a month just from this one property. Now, let's say your roof goes out, and to buy a new roof, that costs $5,000.
$5,000 for a roof is a phenomenal price. Stephanie, if you're pulling $5K for a roof, dude, give me your guys' freaking contact info. I will fly him to Indiana so he can work on mine. That's a roof repair.
Your cash flow of that $400 per month is completely wiped out just because of that one thing, just because you have to pay for that roof. Look.
Okay, that right there, that is the problem that I have with so many people when they message me saying, well, Mike, you only make $250, $300, $400 a month of cash flow. One repair, one water heater, one roof, a couple windows, then all your cash flow for the entire year is wiped out. And that's exactly what she just said. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's because she's not running her numbers properly. And we're going to get to that in just a second. She's not actually running the numbers on the rental property correctly. And if you don't run them correctly, then yes, One repair wipes out all of the money you would have made, all of your profit that's not actually profit because you didn't run your numbers properly. Let's get back into it.
Throughout us buying all these rental properties within an 18-month time frame, I quickly realized that we were becoming equity rich, but cash poor. And having a lot of equity is great, but equity does not put gas in my tank for me to be able to drive to the office and drive to appointments. I don't like living a life having to constantly check if my bank account is in the negatives or not. I just got tired of it, honestly.
If you're a real estate investor and your investing strategy is making it so you have to check constantly whether or not your bank account has gone negative, you're doing something wrong. Stop buying more, and let's take a look at what's happening.
And with you being equity rich and cash poor, not having enough in your bank account, you have to think of those things. Like, are you gonna have enough money for food? Are you gonna have enough money to have gas? Are you gonna have enough money for just the regular bills in your life? And that's where I just got over it. You know, I was just tired of living a life like that and just came to this realization where I just regret building and scaling this fast. And I want you guys to know that when you are dealing with rental properties, you need another source of income just to help you sustain. Because as I just said, you will be equity rich and cash poor if you do it this way and just build and scale so fast. So that other source of income that we took into consideration was wholesale deals. But unfortunately for us, our wholesale deals were very, very inconsistent. So we weren't making really any money from that. It was just the money from our cash flow. But you got to think about it. For us, there were some things that did need repaired. And when we had no money coming from wholesale deals, then we would use our cash flow money. But when we were low and didn't even have cash flow money to use that, then we would have to come out of our own pocket. And guys, remember I told you being cash poor and not having any money in the bank account? You're probably wondering, like, how are you gonna pay for repairs if you have no money from your personal pocket? Well, the bad thing we've done that I don't recommend is we just put it on credit cards. And that's where you get into a hole. And that's
Okay, so, all right, I would try to say something nice. Stephanie, props for being honest. You're being totally honest about what happened. You're making a mistake a lot of investors have made. And I think that you're accurately highlighting and drawing attention to what you did that was wrong. My question for you would be, what type of research and who did you talk with before you started this process? You bought 22 rental units in an 18-month period. You say you and your business partner, I don't know if it's a husband, friend, family member, who knows. But like, did you not ask anybody these questions yourself? Like, hey, what if I don't have enough money in my personal bank account to cover these expenses? You know, these are things you should have thought about before you were in this situation. Oh, I didn't have money for food, she says. Maybe I wasn't going to have money for gas. It's a good idea to have another source of income. Yeah, agreed. You should not just jump into being a real estate investor and be like, I'm quitting my regular W-2 income job because I'm going to be a real estate investor. I got a little bit of money in savings. I'm buying a rental. I'm just going to go for it. No. Keep your regular income job so that if you do make a mistake like Stephanie, you're not sitting there going, am I going to be able to eat? Will I have enough gas for my car? Or worse, something breaks on the property and now you have a obligation and a duty to take care of your tenant, to get the heat back on, to get the AC back on. And now you're sitting there saying, do I get their heat or AC on, or do I feed myself or get my heat or AC on? I mean, these are the situations that it sounds like she put herself into and that other investors may be putting themselves into. These are terrible situations to put yourself into. Don't do it. I would say that the number one culprit is something that I've seen a lot of people make as a mistake when it comes to getting started at investing. It's that they do too much too quickly. 22 units in 18 months is, as she said, very impressive and looks great on social media. But in reality, in practice, it's incredibly dangerous unless you just have gobs of money or an extremely high-paying job or something like that, or the experience to handle taking on that many units because you already have a whole bunch of other ones. For a brand new investor, jumping into 22 units in 18 months, you never gave yourself any time to stabilize. So the process of buying rental properties is you purchase, you stabilize, which is where you get the remodeling done, you get the repairs done, you get a renter in there, and then you optimize, and that's where you ideally look for the most profitable way to rent that thing out. Maybe you move older tenants out, get the newer tenants in. Buy, stabilize, optimize, long-term management. Those are the 4 steps. And if you buy stuff, you don't give yourself enough opportunity to work through that process. That process could be a year or 2 years if it takes a long time to get permits or something to remodel a property. And she was just so addicted to buying, which we've all been there. I mean, I picked up 11 units at the beginning of 2024. It's very fun to buy. It feels good. You've accomplished something, but it doesn't mean anything. It might be equity, but it doesn't mean anything to your monthly bottom line until the rent checks start coming in. And that comes in the stabilization and optimization process, which takes time to find the right tenants, takes time to remodel the property. So hats off to Stefanie for her honesty, but not for her, I guess, forethought and pre-planning.
That's why I'm making this video, because I don't want you guys to be in the same position that I'm in. I want you guys to learn the lessons, learn the mistakes that I have made so that you don't have to make those same mistakes. So just remember, if you do want to build a rental portfolio, make sure you also have another source of income just coming in, because if you don't, you may end up real broke. Now, I want to talk about self-managing your rental properties, because for us, that is what we did to save money. And to be honest with you guys, I honestly don't mind it. As long as you have your proper systems and processes in place, then it's more so of a piece of cake. And what I recommend you guys do, if you are buying these rental properties, make sure you're fully fixing them up, just so you're not getting calls in the middle of the night of tenants saying, oh, my toilet's broken, where if you just get a brand new toilet, then you're less likely to have that issue.
So Stefanie's 100% correct there. Absolutely. Don't be a slumlord. Fix problems correctly. Don't just put Band-Aids on them, and you'll deal with less long-term problems down the road. So hats off to Stefanie for that point. And then in terms of self-managing, yeah, if you live close to where your properties are and you can self-manage, like I do with the duplex I live in here, 100% do it. All my other properties that are in another state, I have a property manager for. But I totally agree. Self-management is a great way to keep more of your money in your pocket instead of paying a property manager.
Now, I want to get back into the money side of things, because that's the main reason people truly buy rental properties, is to have that, financial freedom. But I want to take a second to dive deeper on mortgages. And with you seeing that $300 per month in cash flow, that's not because your utility bills are so high. It's honestly because your mortgage is so high with your principal and interest payments. And I want to give you guys an example. For this 2-unit property that we own, that you guys have seen, the upstairs unit is renting for $1,300 a month, and the downstairs unit is renting for $1,100 a month. Now, for the mortgage on that property, it is roughly $1,300 a month. So that upstairs unit already covers that mortgage, which is amazing. But we still do have utility bill payments on that. So we still cash flow a good amount on that, roughly around the $600 per unit. But still, we have expenses no matter what. But I want you guys.
Her math is totally screwed up, and this is why she's having this problem. She has a total amount of rent, $1,300 and $1,100 is $2,400. So she's got the $2,400 coming in from the property. She then has $1,300 in terms of a mortgage, which includes the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So $2,400 minus $1,300 leaves her with $1,100 left over. She's saying she's cash flowing $600 per side, roughly. Well, okay, right. Just off this math alone, she should be cash flowing $550 per side. This does not include what she's paying for utilities. It's a couple $100 for utilities. She did not factor in property manager. Now, she's not paying a property manager, so I'll give her the credit there. But she also forgot CapEx and maintenance, which is just the long-term expenditures on the property for things like a roof. So when I run my numbers, I take the total amount of rent and I subtract the pie type, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and then vacancies, maintenance, and property manager, and utilities, if those are something you have to include. Once you've deducted all of that, then you get your final cash flow number, which in this case, if she actually put on the utilities, and I calculate 20% of gross rents for my vacancies and maintenance, so $2,400 a month means that she should be paying essentially $560 a month, be setting aside into a vacancies and maintenance account. So if you take your remainder of $1,100 and deduct $560 for the vacancies and maintenance, and then if you deduct the money for the utilities, she's taken her $1,100 and it's probably only like $200 or $300 left divided by each unit. She might only be cash flowing $100, $150 per unit. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad deal. I don't know what she paid to get it. I don't know what the out-of-pocket cost was. But yeah, if she does not adequately estimate what she's going to need for the long-term expenses and repairs, then her cash flow profit of $600, well, that's going to get wiped out when a roof needs to be done, or when the windows get busted, or the AC unit goes down, or there's a foundation problem, or any number of or somebody just doesn't pay rent for a couple of months, because that's a problem too. Tenants don't pay rent. And so, yeah, the entire problem that I'm seeing with Stefanie's story here is twofold. Number one, she expanded way too quickly, didn't give herself enough time to get properties optimized and stabilized. And number two, she didn't run her numbers accurately to make sure that she was insulated with enough money to actually properly manage the property and have some left over for herself. She got very excited about her ability to purchase, which sounds like she did a great job, 22 units, and they look like they're mostly multifamily over an 18-month period, so she's probably very good at buying, but she needs to work on her skills for managing.
And that's where my mind's at. Like, I'm done worrying about scaling with no money, because I realize, like, it can be easily done where you can buy so many rental properties or just properties in general, whatever you want to do with them, whether that's, fixing them up or keeping them as rental properties. You can do that with no money out of pocket. I mean, that's how we scaled from 0 to 22 units within 18 months. But it's honestly the riskier route if you don't have another source of income, because you slowly get into a hole and you have all these mortgage payments racked up. You have to make sure they're all getting paid, but you also want to make sure that you're getting paid and you're cash flowing as well.
So again, she highlights the problem here one more time for you. She's like, oh yeah, you can scale with no money out of pocket. That's what we did. That's the riskier route though. Okay, so on one end of the spectrum, we have the Dave Ramsey approach, which is never use leverage, pay 100% cash for a property. And you may say to yourself, well, Mike, how long does it take a working man to save $400,000 to buy a rental property? That's a great question. That's why I think Dave Ramsey's advice is kind of dumb and outdated. But then we look at Stefanie's side. She's like, yeah, we scaled to 22 units in 18 months with no money out of our own pocket. That's probably not smart. You probably used a lot of private money or hard money lenders. You put very little down. Not a great idea. You're going to have higher monthly payments. The hard money costs are very expensive. The debt turnaround on that is the due dates on the money you got to pay back is a quick turnaround. It's going to cause problems for yourself. So you've got two opposite ends of the spectrum. And I would tell you that the right strategy for me, and probably for you, is somewhere closer to the middle ground, the safer place to be. And my advice would be, there's nothing wrong with using some debt. I did owner-occupied conventional financing for my first duplex. I've done seller financing. I've done owner financing. I've done just about any type of debt product you can think of, 20% down, house, all that type of stuff. But the more important thing is just slow yourself down and give yourself enough time to learn and get things stabilized before you jump in and move on to the next one. She got very addicted to buying quickly, and I understand. It's a lot of fun. She's very good at it. But as she said herself, it's risky.
After realizing all this, like I said, I'm done taking that risky route, and I want to take a different approach where I want to focus on limiting those mortgages, having a consistent income, and having a good amount of money in reserves. Because to be honest with you, I'd rather own 30 properties that are 100% paid off than 100 properties that have mortgages on them and only cash flow $300 a door.
That's a very interesting point that she makes. Would you rather have 30 paid off properties or 100 properties that each make $300 a door? Now, if they truly made $300 a door after vacancies and maintenance and utilities, then I would say the 100 properties with $300 a door. That's probably, what is that? $30,000 a month. 100 times 300. That's not 3,000. That's $30,000 a month in actual profit. Actual profit. Okay. Now, what are the 30 properties a month completely paid off? Maybe there is a break-even point. The 30 might be better. Maybe if the question had been like 15 paid off versus 100. I don't know. But she raises a very interesting question. Should you pay off some of your properties? And in her case, I think the smart thing to do would be, okay, Stefanie, you got 22 properties. Pick your lowest two performing ones, or your crappiest ones, and sell them. Sell them and take all that money and just throw it at a couple of mortgages for the other ones and have a couple of fully paid off properties. I don't have any problems with some fully paid off properties. I have a couple that are fully paid off, like three buildings that are like duplex or a fiveplex or something. But most of my properties have either traditional financing or conventional financing or seller financing on them. But it is certainly nice to not have a payment. It's great cash flow when you have no principal or interest and you just have taxes, insurance, vacancies, maintenance, and a property manager in my case. And again, the bulk of your payment monthly is going to be your principal and interest. So, not against some paid off properties. Think it's a great idea. Do I want all of them like that? Well, probably not all of them, but maybe one day at a different point in my life, maybe. But certainly in the growing phase, I think that you are going to have to use some leverage in order to grow properly. Because if you just look to pay cash, it's going to take a very long time to save up for the next one and the next one. When you could be taking some of that equity appreciation over time if you bought a couple now and you just work on them and stabilize them over time. But that's a personal preference. You make your decision on your own. And let me know down in the comments what you think the best strategy is for you. Stefanie, if you do happen to watch this video, I'd love to have you on the channel sometime. We could talk more about your experience, about how you got started investing in real estate. I thought it was a great video. Seemed like a very honest person. You're not pitching a course at the end of your video, so that's always a good sign. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Again, my best advice to you would be, man, I don't know, sell one, pay off a couple, slow down a little bit. I don't know who you had in terms of mentorship. There's no need to pay for it. A lot of people are like, oh, should I pay for a mentor? There's so many people out there that have great advice and will talk for hours about what they know for free. It's all over YouTube. Personally, I wouldn't pay for it. It sounds like you kind of just need somebody to kind of help tweak a couple of things, rein you in just a little bit, and you're going to be just fine. You have missed out on the most critical component. The number one most powerful thing when it comes to investing in real estate is time. And you've only had 18 months. I promise you, 3.5 more years of rent appreciation, equity appreciation, stabilizing properties with the right tenants, finishing up some remodels so you're not funneling and shoveling cash out to fund projects, and instead you just get to sit there and let the cash pile back up from rent each month. 3.5 more years of that, and you're going to be making a very different video called I Was Wrong About the 22 Rental Units and Why I Regret It video. I was wrong about that. I don't regret it anymore. I'm in a much better place. The first 5 years of investing in real estate are tough. They're very difficult. But when you get through them, the stuff you bought year one, dude, those are your crown jewels. Just give yourself a little bit of time. Appreciate you for the video, Stefanie, and as always to the viewers for watching. And until next time, we'll catch you later.